Good afternoon, everybody. We got Will here today. We don't have any pre-submitted questions that I'm aware of. So if you have anything, let me know. You can use raise hand feature, ask in chat, ask in QA, whichever is easiest for you. And we will get your questions answered. I'm feverishly struggling to get my local working as I screwed it up with an upgrade and forgot to fix it. So bear with me just a quick moment. Decisions installer, decisions MSI. One quick second here. All right, and then Simone, you have a question for us? What can I try to help you with?
Yes. I am I'm on a page on a
Okay.
dashboard, and I am trying to create a search function on the dashboard. So basically, allowing the user to search a
Okay.
case entity data.
Okay.
And um, I have reports set up that have permissions on them so the
Okay.
users can see what they need to see.
Okay.
But I'm trying to figure out how to put that in like a view, like a list where they can like click on a button, like search all cases and search the number case and have it pull up.
So you have
Am
cases
I
in a
making
report
sense?
today. Sort of. You have
Yep.
you have cases in a report today.
hmm
And users can use runtime editable filters to search in that report.
The filters are already set up so they can only see what they need to see.
Okay.
So on the dashboard, I have reports set up for
hmm
different types of cases, but I want
Okay.
an all search function
For
where
all
they can,
cases.
yeah, say they have a random case that they just want to search.
hmm
They're able to type it in and it pulls up. They don't have to go to closed cases or draft cases. They can just search anywhere.
I see.
I
So
was
you're in your.
trying to
Go
what
ahead.
I tried, I'll just let you know what I've tried so far. So I tried to use a run flow and put the report in that flow,
hmm
and that's not working. And then I've also tried to just use a report viewer and put that on the dashboard, but that's not really giving me what I need either.
Okay. I think the most common thing we see with customers is using page views for this. So
Okay,
like having like custom pages. So if I were to see here just a moment.
like a page within a page.
Well, like adding, you can have multiple pages. I'm gonna kind of come here so I can try to show, I'm gonna pull a view up on my trying to get my local fixed here. Trying not to
Okay,
show any customer information. Yeah, so here we go. Let me pull this over. You see here, this is all along the top here are custom pages that you can add
hmm
to a folder. So let's assume this is your current dashboard, right? Where your users
okay,
primarily go. You can have a separate view here, like history or all, which has a different report on it, which is not filtered in the same way. This would be the most common
yeah,
pattern we see.
okay. Do you ever see anything where it's all like on the same page? They're able to like click a button and get that view, or only the tabs at the top?
There's so not you don't there's we don't usually see people do it with a button to render the same report differently. We might see you might use like a tab layout if you don't want them to change the page here. There's a layout
Okay,
container called tab control, and you could
yep.
put it so on the left or the top of the page you could see. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry, my installation has failed. Apologies. Bear with me just a second. So I'm trying to get this thing to work. Um, So you could use a tab container. So I'd say either a tab container or a page is how we would we would see this. These are effectively like tabs for end user's perspective. The nice
Hmm.
thing if you use Pages is you could have a URL directly to you could have a URL directly to a page, where if you have a tab container, you couldn't load the page that's a particular tab by default. But with these page views,
Okay.
you're able to have them. So if you wanted to send a link somewhere, and that it loads in the all history type view, you'd be able to support that, um, if you use this page view concept.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think with what we're trying to achieve, it would make sense for it to just be a tab container
Hmm.
on the same page because they already have requests on that page
Hmm.
that they see. They just need to be able to have a search all function. So I think a
Show
tab container
you.
might work.
Yeah, here we go. Let me pull this up. I can show you what it might look like. This is in our V9 server. But if I bring this over here, you could see, and I go to this view here. This is a page called settings, and then there's tabs here. So you can click through different page content using the tab control here. And
Okay,
you can
yeah.
control whatever you want. And if you just look up containers or layouts, let me just go to a folder. If you just go edit a page under layouts, you'll have a tab container here. And then the tab container, you can add as many tabs as you'd like. You can reorder them and rename them.
Okay, and then just put like the all request report on that tab
Yep, that's right.
and then
And
put the filters on the report so they can only see what they need to see.
right, exactly. And then different as you add more views based on what you need, you could just add additional tabs with unique content in each container.
Okay, that makes sense. And is there anything that we could use? Like you see that search on the top right?
Hmm.
Like that search, could we use something like that for a report? Just that search bar?
Well, I mean, your reports do have that by default. Like,
They do. They do. That's right.
but it doesn't,
That's
is a
right.
question,
So
can you have the search bar search something other than what's currently shown like on the report?
have it just search the report instead of having the whole report up, all that data showing with the search very tiny at the top. Could it just be the search bar searching that folder, that case entity?
You can like there's a concept in our doc site. You can build custom like UI or like filter experiences and send dashboard. Yeah, this doc right here, refreshing report using a flow. The
Okay.
example build here doesn't really show you exactly like anything wonderful, but like we have customers who don't like our report filters at all, and they might build completely custom, like they use like a flow run part with a form on it to create custom like filter user interfaces. So if you wanted to do something like that, like make the search more prominent or like loaded by default or something like that, so it's more apparent to your users, you might look at this doc here to get an idea about how to leverage this step, this send report dashboard parameter step, to configure a report to take in filters from like a different page part.
Okay. I don't think that's what I was going for. I was looking more at like this search, this incremental search step or in the toolbox to
Hmm.
see if we could use that to just pull from a report.
It's more like you can let flow steps push filter values to a current report. Um, uh, there's also this other idea of like I could show you another thing here on UX test. If we go to our thing here, you can use tiles to do this using like what we call like report service bus. Let me go to my folder structure and profiler here. And so you could actually you could use tiles and you'll like this is, if I click on one of these tiles, it should refresh the report and it actually loads a different report. So you might think of something like this as well. Technically you're still searching in the current report shown,
Hmm.
but tiles can cause a report viewer to switch to a specific report using this report service bus concept. I don't know if we have a good doc for this. Service bus, report service, configure reports. I'm not sure we have a
So
good
I'd start
doc
with
for
the form
this.
tile.
This is a simple tile, but yes, in fact, if I were to edit
Mm.
this page, let me quick see if I can find this page. Yeah, there's profiler, page data. Just edit this really quick. And what I could show you is on this simple tile here, if you edit this, if you're to edit this flow, on the create dial step, there's this option here to, yeah, so tile action is push data to controls. Then the data bus is selection bus, and then you give it a
Uh-huh.
value. This is like the report ID. And this is how
Oh,
we need to have a doc here. Will, if you could help me get a doc ticket in for this, that'd be wonderful. But
Got it.
you can let tile selection interact with report viewers. And so this is another
okay,
thing we
perfect.
might do where you will like have like say like all you might have a tile that says like count of cases that are over 90 days old, right? And if you click that, it loads the report to show you all 90-day plus old cases. And so you have
Okay,
different tiles click to an auto filter or sort of auto render or show with preset filters. So you are building different reports, right? And you're using
yep, they're
this thing.
already built.
Right, exactly. It's not really filtering the report. It's just quickly switching between reports, and then you have different reports that have different preset filters on them. So this might something like this might give you what you want too.
Yeah, I think this is where my teammate was going because she was just saying, use a form tile, and I didn't know where to really go with it from there. So what is this get loaded session
hmm
room
What we can do really
collection?
quick is I'm sure we can have this done by the end of the day here and shoot it over to you. I'll ask the doc team to write up a quick doc about how to build a page with two simple tiles that flips back and forth between two reports. And then
Okay,
we can
that would
send
be
you the link to
great.
that doc once we get it published. Will, if you could
Okay.
help me with that, that'd be wonderful.
Sure thing.
It's pretty straightforward to do. It's just once you know what to do, it's easy to do. But isn't that everything in decisions?
Yeah, okay.
It's just
Thanks so
knowing what to
much.
do. Okay, you bet. Happy to help. All right, and then we have Jeff up next. Is there a way to lock the properties panel in the flow designer? When working on the right side of a flow, the properties panel auto collapses and expands and hides the right side of the designer area each time. Not currently, sir. There's no way to force the property panel to not open as far as I'm aware, if that's the question. It does kind of like make you have to scroll, I think, right a bit more, right? When it opens up, it does kind of horizontally collapse the editor a bit.
Yeah. So I told one of the guys that asked this question, he said that when he's working on the right side of a flow, it kind of you have to keep scrolling to the left to get back to where you were.
Yeah, it's I don't think we have the ability to control if it opens or not currently.
Okay.
Okay. All right, what other questions do we have from anybody? All right, let me know if you have any other questions. So when I just put your hand down, so if you had a second question, please put your hand back up. I'll unmute you again, and you can ask a second question. Let's just assume that that was there. Just left up on accident. Okay, wonderful. Hey, I have my local back. Wonderful. It's always dangerous. If anyone wants a sneak peek, this is what a V9 project looks like. You see here, there's a bunch of extra stuff here, but this is you can see I'm in a folder project called folder structure. And Jeff, should notice this guy here where we're baking in a lot of the mapping and step inspection reporting into making it easier for devs to find, as well as baking it into the product itself. Trying to make the profiler and other sort of auditing and things more available to your designers instead of sort of nested away in some hidden system folder somewhere. So some pretty neat stuff coming here soon. Oh, I like the new design of our store flows page.
So, well, with version 9, is that coming with the new sort of evolution of the repository?
Not, it's like the first phase of that. It's actually it's the change to project structure is the starting point for the new repo server. So new repo server is going to be the second half of this year.
Okay.
But the new project, there's really a change in how projects are managed, to make it make it impossible for you to miss dependencies or attach things to different projects unless you intentionally decide to do it. So as we did our review of all the issues with the repo server, the biggest one was missing dependencies or dependency issues. And so we had a couple desires to make it easier for people to get started, make it easier to see all the parts of a project, make the walls between projects taller, things like that. And so redoing deployment starts with a bunch of the changes to our project concept coming in V9, and deployment server extends those, but will be coming in the second half of this year. Okay. Kind of, some people are leaving, so if you have any other questions, do let me know. You bet, sir.
We just got a question.
Hey, here's a question. This feels like a generic question, but how do I go about editing a case entity? I think my confusion is how the folder system it uses works and the general flow of a case entity. Yeah, sure, Justin. Let me unmute you. Are you talking about like just editing an easy way to edit some of the custom data fields? Or like is it content inside of the case entity that you might want to edit? Or
I
both?
think it's editing the content inside of it.
Okay. So it really depends on let me get in my local here. Just create a project here. So let's create a case. Give it two custom properties, str1 and str2. Okay, and then so let's go ahead and create some cases. So add, shoo, good grief. Add, oh, I need to enable that, don't I? Show add with data, so we'll refresh. I don't know, my folder context updated. So add case test one, and I'll put some garbage text here. Now, obviously, with the default view, you can edit the case data itself, str1 and str2. And if you wanted to, you can enable the show edit and delete actions. If we select those, we can get right-click context menu actions on our case object to edit it, which will be effectively equivalent to what you saw there. Now I can edit str1 and str2. But I think the question you're asking is, if I were to upload like a document here, right? All right, so I have like a file here. This is a file. Right, and I upload this into here, or I have comments, right? That you want to understand how to edit these individual items, or this could be a custom object as well, like a custom folder entity.
No, sorry, I'm still kind of getting used to the whole decisions. I'm it. Is there a way to change how this looks for a
For sure.
person editing it? That's kind of
Yep.
what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
If you go into a case folder here, there's a thing here called a create page. And you can create a page or dashboard here. Just call this new dash. And I'll click create. Right, and then there's you'll notice all these things are just their own views. So like if I search for activity, like I could put a folder activity pen on the left-hand side. Because I went into this configuration folder, this is like, these are the special behaviors that attach to that object I created, that case test. If I come back to test and I add a new case, so add case, I'll call this test 2. And then you'll notice I have new dash here, right? And so I can, then what I can do is use these other options here. If I come on the right hand side, page visibility rules, and I can use the rule editor to write rules that hide the pages that show. And so I can only show new dash, or I can only show new dash to administrators or to managers or something. But I can use the page designer to create custom pages. And then I can apply those pages in the configuration folder and use page visibility rules to hide those pages based on user context. And that's how you can kind of constrain or create these very custom user experiences when someone clicks into a case folder or any kind of decisions folder type. And then you're kind of into the particulars about, charts, pages, activity panels, entity actions, all these other things that you might want to do to make the individual sort of case object more easier to use.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Thank you.
Does that help at all? Anything else I can answer there for you? I know that was very high level.
That at least pushes me in the right direction.
Yep. So yeah, and one of the neat things is like this page concept is, I think, one of the most powerful concepts in decisions, because now these pages show up every time you create a case, right? So you start creating custom views of the object you care about. Yeah, obviously this view is very generic and arguably not very helpful, but the ability to custom craft those views that, read the content of the folder, right? And show that in activity panels or report viewers or in pie charts or line charts or whatever, right? And they show that on a page and you make that page very informationally dense. That's where a lot of the power of our case concept comes from. Because then you can start creating custom views. You can start putting permissions on those views. You can start creating custom actions. So if you were to come into this and add an action, we'll come add a user action, right? Called, like a send back to fraud team or whatever, just to make up a thing, right? And I come back and I look, I can have this is of course a flow. It can do whatever I need it to. I come look at case test 2, I now have an action here to send back to fraud team. So with the page and these entity actions, I can start creating a lot of behavior to really make it easy for my users to do the work of that particular thing. And then there's action visibility rules, just like there's page visibility rules as well. So you can constrain what people can do based on their user account or the groups that they're associated with, so on and so forth. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions for us today? All right. We're at 12:30, sort of last call here. Anyone has any additional questions? Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you same time tomorrow. Appreciate all the questions today. Share the word, please. Invite everyone that you at your orgs to come ask us questions on these. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.